Where do you go on the bike?
Right here.
Oh yeah, but where do you take the bike?
That way.
To the pool? That's cool. It's awesome. Well, Scarlett, what we're doing today is we're reviewing the RadWagon 4. It is a e-bike that looks kind of like a minivan, but in the best way possible. Keep on watching our full review to find out what we think and a whole lot more. Welcome back to We Tried It. Today we are talking about the one, the only RadWagon 4. This is the newest model of the RadWagon from Rad Power Bikes. And if you watch our reviews, you know that we love Rad Power Bikes and we're super excited to test out this version. Now, the first thing that you'll notice, besides all the junk on this bike, is simply how long it is. The bike is incredibly long, and that's to hold this bad boy. This is an integrated rear rack. I'll show a video of what it looks like right when you get it out of the box, but these nice wood panels are there right out of the box. Those are not extra, but this right here is called the Caboose. I'll show you how you put that on here in just a second. And also these running boards are an addition as well. But the bike comes to you very versatile, very ready to take whatever you want to do with it. A lot of people use this to transport kids. As you see in these videos, we have 2 kids that we put on the back of here, and we literally ride this bike every single day. And I'm going to tell you something very embarrassing. There are exactly 22 miles on this bike, and that's because we take it about 0.1, 0.2 miles each way to the pool, which is that way. And it's a great way to get the kids in here, get them going quick, and not have to, if you have kids, you know they like to look around and take their time. We also have added this front rack, which is a great addition. We've got some towels in here, some toys in here. I'll show you some unique things about that. But this is all we need to go to the pool, which is a lot of fun, especially here in Colorado in the summertime. And there's a couple of things I want to point out that are unique about the RadWagon 4. Okay, let's start at the front. First of all, this is an added accessory. We recommend it if you're going to be putting people or things in the back, you need some storage up front. You really can't put towels and stuff with the kids, it's gonna fly out. But the front of the bike is unique because this stem right here is straight. And when you turn the wheel, your light actually keeps going forward, but it doesn't go with the wheel, which is a little bit tough if you're driving late at night, but I wouldn't recommend that just with kids in the back anyway. So it's a little bit of a weird thing. I also learned what a Deflopilator is. Do you know what a Deflopilator is? Is this fun little spring right here that gets your wheel to not get out of whack and get stuck going this way. It automatically pops your wheel going this way. When you're riding the bike, you don't notice it. It just helps it not get stuck like this if you're accidentally braking or something like that. This Rad Power Bike has the same LCD display that's found on most of the other Rad Power Bikes. It does have a USB slot that you can put in here and charge your phone, which is cool. Does not come with a mount. You can get a mount for your phone. I recommend it. That's how I ride the Rad Rover 5. Does have nice controls, little bell, and great brakes. It does take a little bit of time to get used to the front brakes and just how long this bike is in general, but it feels kind of like, I don't know, driving a skate or like a rollerblade because it's just longer than a typical bike. Next thing you know, of course, you have the battery here. This is very adjustable. This front stem is very adjustable. The other thing that's incredibly adjustable is this bad boy. You can see this is a super low level on this bike right here. My wife rides it, but actually I can ride it too. This telescopes up quite a bit. I don't need to even ride it that high, but just to show you how high it can go. It's very adjustable, and that's important because when you need to take off from a dead stop, you really do need to have both feet on the ground, as you can see in this video, because kids and weight on the back can make it kind of wobbly, and you don't want to be having to catch yourself and fall. And I'll talk about falling here in just a second. But my favorite part of the whole RadWagon 4 is this bad boy. This is the kickstand. If you notice, the bike is standing upright. It's not leaning off to one side like most e-bikes do. This is an awesome kickstand for loading people or things or kids or pets or whatever up on the bike. You can put them on here and it stays steady. When you get weight on the back, it's actually even more steady because it stays on that back tire versus the front tire. You can see it's up just a little bit here. but it's a great feature which helps keep your kids safe and helps give you confidence when you're loading them on. It's amazing. It's seriously my favorite feature. I know it's really silly, but that is part of it. All right, the last part is this giant rear rack. As I mentioned, this part comes standard, but this and the running boards are an option. They cost extra. Another cool thing about this bike is that you'll see here they have little holders that actually can come out and adjust with the size of your kid. So if your kid gets bigger, and they should get bigger, obviously, you can make them wider and they can fit in there. You can even take these out all together. This is perfect because it doesn't let your kids squirm around too much. You may notice that you see a lot of people riding this bike with a car seat or a bike seat on the back. And you maybe wonder, okay, why would I get this bike and use this versus the bike seat? And I think the best way to determine is, will your kid fall asleep on the back of a bike? Our kids are old enough now where they would not, but if they were, 6, 9 months younger, they definitely would. So if your kid could possibly fall asleep on the back of a bike, get the car seat adapter for this. Don't use the Caboose. I would also recommend checking out something like the Eurorider. I'm gonna do a full review about the Eurorider or a shotgun type bike. If you only have one kid, you can't put 2 kids on the shotgun bike. And frankly, our almost 5-year-old, he turns 5 here in a couple days. He is about the age where he can't fit anymore. So if you have a smaller kid, I would recommend just getting a smaller bike and putting that Eurorider on there. But if you have 2 kids or they're getting a little bit bigger, you can use this to use either a car seat or bike seat or the Caboose itself, which is pretty cool. Another really cool feature that you may not notice or may even appreciate if you do see it online is this plexiglass shield. It does make it a little tough to adjust the brake pads on here, but this plexiglass shield will save your legs and save your kids' legs. If this wasn't here, you can see how a foot could easily get caught in here. It is another great feature. Okay, what about riding this e-bike? This e-bike is actually really easy to ride thanks to its low center of gravity. It doesn't have giant wheels, but it has good sized wheels. They're a little bit thicker than a normal bicycle wheel. And to be honest with you, it just feels like kind of driving like a minivan. A minivan can still be fun to ride, but you just have a longer base here and it's not awkward, but it just takes a little bit of getting used to. And then what we always get asked is, aren't you afraid that your kids will fall on the back of this? What happens if you tip the bike? And we've actually done that one time. And I think actually the Caboose saved our kids. Now, this was a totally weird thing where it would never happen again, but it was raining. We went over some trail that had some water over it and we hit a sinkhole that we didn't see. The whole bike tipped over. You can actually see on the other side there is some chipped up sides there. But the e-bike or the Caboose actually saved our kids from having their hands out. If they were in a car seat, they could have had their hands out, or a bike seat, their hands could have been out and tipped over. But this just fell in here. It got a little bit of scratches on the side, but that's not that big a deal. Of course, they were scared, but the good news is they were safe. Of course, they were wearing their helmets. And it is a worry. You have to get used to it. I would actually ride this bike a little bit more than you normally would to first, just to feel how it's a little bit different. But you can tip it. It's easy to tip it, but just get used to it. Get the seat down to a lower level where you can put your feet down if you do feel like you're getting a little bit wobbly. And because when you use your pedals, you kind of move back and forth a little bit, especially when you're first starting. Just use it to give a little bit of throttle. This has both the throttle and the pedal assist to get it going. And that way you don't have to worry about being really floppy and flimsy when you start from a dead stop. You can see, here's how my wife does it at the stop sign. As far as speed, this e-bike goes 20 miles an hour with pedal assist and with throttle. After 20 miles an hour, the motor does shut off. You can't go fast if you're going downhill or pedaling really fast. And actually it gets up to 20 miles an hour pretty quickly. And I was pretty surprised at how fast it actually can go. I obviously ride this bike a little bit quicker than my wife does, but it gets up to 20 miles an hour really in no time. And it's still fun to ride even though it's big. I don't know if you've ever ridden a minivan that was fun to ride, but this is kind of like riding in a really fun minivan. I really do compare the RadWagon 4 to a minivan. No one buys a minivan because they think it looks cool. You buy it for the functionality, right? And that's the same thing with the RadWagon 4. It is the minivan of e-bikes, and I mean that in the best way possible. They've thought of everything. This is exactly how we use our bike. This is why it's so dirty, because this is how we use it every single day. They thought of everything. It's incredibly versatile. You can customize it to get exactly what you need to haul stuff around or haul kids around. But a minivan is not a bad thing, but this is the greatest minivan of e-bikes ever invented. Let us know if you have any questions or comments. Leave them below. Hope to see you again real soon.